All right. What's up, everybody? NFL Week 2 Domination Station Fanduel setup tutorial starts now. All right. What's up, VIPs? Late night live stream time, motherfuckers. We're about to set up some FanDuel lineups for NFL Week 2. We have already been over this slate again and again. You spent 2 hours with me on the Players Club VIP only podcast this afternoon. If you haven't seen that yet, what the fuck are you doing? Very important to watch that. It's going to give you a lot of ideas. And last week we did a DraftKings tutorial. So this week I'm shifting it over to FanDuel. And I want to show you guys real quick a little something. Just like the FanDuel screen, so you understand what kind of contests you're attacking with this approach, right? This approach, using the Dom station, making 150, 300, if you like. It's for these mass multi-entry contests, and they are down and good for every budget, but be aware that they're starting to fill up even now, late night. So I'm going to make the screen large so you guys get the full view. You don't need to see my sexy face. You can watch the screen here, but you know, if you're a nickel player and you want to play $7.50, you can do that in the nickel game here. 958,000 entries. A great opportunity. I really, really want every single one of you guys watching this to max out and enter this contest. Let's say you want to give yourself more chances. You want to run 300. I don't mind maxing out this one here and the quarter game. Just quarters. Quarter game, nickel game. You can make 300 lineups that way. These two contests have a little bit of time left. Really popular contest is the Sunday Dive. This Sunday Dive is actually one of the better payout structures. It's very flat. Notice it's 5K to first. I just want to go over a little bit of like how this works. Only 5% to first place. This is a very flat structured contest that pays out really well, considering it's just $1 to enter. 5,000x for first place, but you know, you're still getting pretty good numbers here all the way throughout. Like, you know, anywhere up to 20th place, you get all of your money back with that particular lineup. You know, $100, 21st to 35th. Again, it's going to return most of your original money. So this is a really flat structure. It's almost full, and rightfully so. FanDuel does the structures right on a lot of these. And here's a little 20 entry contest that I don't mind either. Of course, there's the snap here. Won't take as high of a score to win against 36K entrants. Also, you can max this out. This one will cost 600 to max, 15K to first. And if you just want to make 20 lineups here, this is a nice little contest for 20 entry. And again, 60K. You got to always look at the prize structure, but it's 5K to first, guys. That is less than 10%. This is really, really attractive structures for these contests. So make sure that you actually reserve your entries. You know, we're going to make lineups for these things, but reserve your entries. Yeah, so listen, last week we did DraftKings. This week we're doing FanDuel. There is no difference in how they're going to be set up. Some of the players are going to be different, but I hope... Oh, wait, let me put myself on screen here for this. I hope that you're not here to copy the settings. That's not what this is about. I'm going to show you how to set up the tool to create mass multi-entry correlated lineups to attack tournaments with. We're going to do it in real time, and we're going to talk about tomorrow's slate. I did DraftKings last week. It's exactly the same. The only difference for me between FanDuel and DraftKings is on DraftKings, I disallow running backs in the flex. On FanDuel, I allow running backs in the flex. That's it. The rest of the settings are the same. So, you know, you can do your FanDuel. It doesn't matter what you're doing this week. Okay. All right, guys, let's get going here. Now, we already talked through this slate. I'll just give a reminder. There are two massively incredible standout games that stand out above all the others. Tennessee, Seattle, and, of course, Dallas against the Chargers. And the Dallas Chargers game is the one I'm most excited about this week. In order to, I don't normally do the amount of correlation we're going to do today. So I'm going to take it up a notch because my feeling is there's going to be so much chalk on QB +1/+1, and even QB +2/+1 stacks, then I'm going to take it up a notch, especially with the Chargers Dallas game. I'm going to go QB +4 players from the game. So I'm going to be doing stacks with at least 5 players from this game. On this one, I'll go back down to 4 players, as you'll see, and then we'll sprinkle in a couple of other game stacks. We'll touch on this game right here, Cardinals Vikings. We'll get a little bit of Brady stacks going. Maybe we'll touch a little bit on this game right here as well. And that's about it. That's about it. So we're going to go really tight with the player pool. Now, a big mistake I see a lot of people making, well, we won't get into that yet, but I noticed, like, if you're going to go heavy stacks on a game, you have to be careful not to overly limit the max exposures, especially for players in those games. So because there's a math to this, and the math says, like, all right, if it uses up all of the you'll get a lot of that. It's very easy to afford a lot of good lineups here. If you use up all of, like, the CeeDee Lamb 30% exposure that you're allowed, and then it gets to starting to make those Dak just in random one-offs, then it starts making the Dak lineups, and it can't use Lamb because you've already maxed him out. It causes problems. So you got to be careful about max exposure limits when you're using legacy stacking, and we will be using legacy stacking, the simpler and easier to use stacking method for today. So let's just get started, guys. I don't even want to dilly-dally any longer. So here we go. First one, Kyler Murray. I'm going to go with Kyler. I'm going to go no less than one wide receiver. There's no real tight end I'm interested in on his team. So wide receiver, same team, and then one opposing team. Going to keep it simple with any Kyler Murray stacks. That's a basic one. Not. Let me see here, actually. Let me think more about this. Yeah, not one of my favorite games to stack. I like Kyler here. Let me take a look at his salary real quick. Yeah, he's priced up a little bit, and it's not the end of the world. On Fanduel, I don't like it as much, but yeah, I want to get at least one with him and one on the other side. So I want game stacks. I feel like if Tennessee, if the Cardinals are scoring, then the Vikings will be answering. I really like Jefferson this week. I'm just trying to think if I want, because I'm actually going to use this shit. So I'm just trying to think if I want Kyler +1 or +2. I'm going +1. All right, leaving it at that. Next, go down the list. Russell Wilson. Again, I'm going to go. The thing with Wilson is it's less common that he produces tournament-winning scores with 2 players. It's usually either DK or Lockett. It's not often both. So there's a little bit of risk in doing double stacks with Wilson. But the one thing I do know about Wilson is I definitely want to bring back again. So I'm going to keep another simple stack going with Wilson, wide receiver. The tight end isn't very particularly important on this team. So I'm going to go one wide receiver, same team. It'll be one of Metcalf or Lockett. And it's no less than. So it could accidentally have 2. And that's fine. And then we're going to go. Yeah, keep it to 1. 1 opposing team. So far you see I've got 2, I would say, simple stacks so far. Go down the list. Tom Brady, I'm not stacking. I'm not bringing it back with anybody from Atlanta. I'm just going to play Tom Brady. I want to have some exposure to Tom Brady. I'm going to go with 2 of his pass catchers. For Tom Brady to get there, he's going to need 2 guys dragging him. Do I want the running backs included? No. So I'm going to go Tom Brady +2. I won't do a lot of this stack, but I just want to have it in here. 2 of wide receiver, tight end, same team. Okay, we're going through the rules, guys. Josh Allen. Simple stack with Josh Allen as well. I'm going to play a little bit of him. Keep it in mind, though, I'm going to be much heavily on 1 or 2 games, and it ain't that one. All right. So let's keep going down the list. Dak, here we go. Now, this is the chalk game of the week. There are some incredible... Son of a bitch. All right. Let's go back to Brady. Of course, did that wrong. There we go. All right. Let's go to Dak. Thank you for keeping an eye on this shit for me, guys. You know what? I'm live streaming. It's not that easy. Okay. Now, we get to the sexy game. The one we're excited the most about. Dak, Herbert. Let's fucking go. All right. What I'm doing in this game is I'm creating big time double stacks. I want Dak plus 4 players from this game, no less than 2 of... I'm including Zeke Elliott. This is Fanduel. It seems weird, but I don't mind Zeke Elliott. You know what? I'm not going to include it. Let's think. Yeah, no, I don't want to include Zeke, but I'm going to allow Zeke Elliott to be in some of these lineups because I'm not saying no. I'm not saying exactly or no more than. I'm saying no less than 2 of wide receiver, tight end, same team. So we're going to allow Zeke Elliott to naturally show up in some of these. Naturally, because we'll have Zeke just naturally showing up in lineups. 2 players, same team. And we are going 2 players, opposing team. I'm going to actually raise up some projections here on some players. Make sure they show up. Try to get them to show up in these stacks. I'm just gonna raise up the projection on Cedric Wilson too. We don't need as much of this. Luckily, all right. So if this was FanDuel, I'd want a lot more Cedric Wilson. I'd want a lot more Guyton. But in the case of this, I want a little bit, but we'll see if we could try to make Guyton or Wilson show up in some of these. I have an interesting idea. All right, check this out. I don't even know if it's going to work. Stack position wide receiver. Let's go. All right, Cedric Wilson. Check this out. It's an interesting idea with exactly one of QB. Actually, that will keep him out of, same team. This is an interesting little rule. I don't know if this is going to work. All right. And then I'm going to put let's force 5% on this guy. And next, that was Guyton. I'm going to do the same rule for him and 5% on him. And then we're going to go. This is an interesting little rule I'm putting in here. We'll see if that works or if that breaks it. If it breaks it, we'll turn it off later. But anyway, Dak Prescott, 2 wide receiver, tight end, same team. 2 wide receiver, tight end, RB, opposing team. Now we're going to get his buddy Herbert. No less than 2 wide receiver. I'm including running back, guys. Wide receiver, tight end, running back, same team. 2 wide receiver, running back, tight end, opposing team. Now, why am I doing this? Why am I doing it? The reason is because everybody's going to be loading up on the pieces from this game. So how are we going to get different to try to win $1 million, to try to take down a tournament with 900,000 entrants in it? Just taking one-offs or the standard in this game, the chalkiest game, the most stackable game, just to do QB +1/+1, I don't think it's enough. Even QB +2/+1, not enough. We're going QB +2/+2, or I'm going QB 2/+2. You guys do what you want. This is about showing you how to set this up, though. So again, what am I doing here? I'm going quarterback by quarterback. Now I could just make a standard rule: QB +2, same team, 1 opposing team, right? In our back testing, that's what we did. and it worked out pretty well. But because we researched these slates and we're not back testing, we're researching slates and going forward, we can actually tailor our rules specifically to each quarterback. So, for example, Jalen Hurts, who does a lot with his legs, I don't necessarily need to stack him with 2. I am going to play some Jalen Hurts. Do I want to do a comeback on Hurts? Not really. No, I'm not doing the comeback. Just leaving it same team. Let's see. Any other quarterbacks that we talked about? We did Herbert. Yeah, Kirk Cousins, Captain Kirk. We're going to do a Tannehill one too. So we're going to do Kirk 2. So if we stack Kirk with 2 of, it's going to basically force both wide receivers. I don't like it. I'm going 1. 1 of wide receiver. Same team. Boom. Just like that. And if we're playing Cousins stacks, let's say Cousins is smashing. I'm going to bring it back with 1 piece. One piece from the Cardinals as well. Okay. Who else? Do we forget anybody? Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill's as low as I'm probably going this week. Who's this? Julio. We got AJ Brown. He runs for touchdowns. No. So I'm doing 1 player, wide receiver, same team. So I'm not going to include Derrick Henry. And I don't want to force it to include. Yeah, it's going to be 1 player, wide receiver, same team. 1 player, wide receiver, running back, opposing team. Now, just because I added, so one thing I think people don't understand when you're using the domination station, just because you added a bunch of names here, it doesn't mean that this is what the optimizer will use. Like if I just run it now, it'll use some of these quarterbacks maybe, but technically these rules cause those stacks to be less optimal than anything else. So you're going to see if I just run it, I'm not going to get that many of those quarterbacks. So this is just step 1. The second step is setting. What's up, Shafia? You got your shout out. All right. All right. Last week's stream was for last week's slate. It's definitely on the Domination station. It's on the DFS Army website. It's under our podcast channel in Discord. Everything we do is in Discord as well. Every video is under podcast, and every video is posted in my channel, so you could find it there. But my suggestion is hang with this one. You don't need, again, DraftKings and Fanduel about the same. The only difference between DraftKings and Fanduel, on DraftKings, I set RB to 0. On Fanduel, I leave it at 100%. I do like to lower tight end to 0%. Yeah, I always expected Sermon to be active. I have my notes on him on my sheet. Shenanigans is all I have to say. All right, let's go through some of the standard options that we're going to do. So we're making 150 lineups, okay? Flex position, we're allowing 100% running back. I'm allowing wide receiver too. Fuck it, YOLO. I'm leaving it. Okay, 3 uniques is what I like to use. Tournament mode. Okay, now this is a very important part, guys, and a step that a lot of people miss. 3 uniques. Now, QB, we control for exposures, right? So I'm going to tell the tool how much I want of each quarterback. Now, you've got ownership projections right here, so you can get an idea of what ownerships will be on this slate. The ownerships are right here. We're going to set projections. So my favorite stack on the slate is Justin Herbert. I think I'm going 30%. I'm going to go 25% Dak Prescott. That gives us 55% covered on this one game. Now, the second best game is going to be Seattle, Tennessee. We'll go 15% here on Russ cooking. I'm going to go 5% on Ryan Tannehill, Ryan Turdnehill. I'm pretty interested in this whole Tom Brady situation where I think he could throw for 4 to 5 touchdowns in this game. So let's give me some of that. Kyler Murray's been kicking ass and taking names. Give me some of that. Josh Allen. Did I set up a Josh Allen stack? Yes. Okay. Josh Allen, never don't play Josh Allen. That is the number one rule, the golden rule. So let's count them up so far. We've got 30, 35, 40, 60, 70, 85, 90, 95, 100. Now, that's 100%. So that is all of our QB exposure for the slate. You know what? I didn't get any Cousins, and I don't really like that. So I'm going to find some Cousins exposure. I guess we'll find it here. Okay. I do want a little bit of Cousins. All right, there we go. So we've got 100%. Now, it's really, really important, guys, that you set your QB exposures using the exposures minimum tab and set this however you want. You can, again, in the back test, a lot of times we just let it roll and let it do its own thing. But when you set individual stacks like this, what's going to happen is you can't just let the domination station pick the stacks because this combination is inherently less optimal than just allowing it to do whatever it wants. So the minute you set these restrictions, when it's choosing quarterbacks, it's going to choose the ones that aren't tied to a stack. And because we did stacks by name, you do not want to do that. So the first thing I like to do, somebody asked about ownership caps. I don't know what ownerships look like on the slate until I run the optimizer. So I'm going to give it a run. And what we're going to do is wait and see what the highest owned lineup is. We usually want to get rid of some of that chalk. Now, I have a lot more to do as we go through this and get this set up, but this is just the basics. I want to see what all the stacks kind of look like. I want to see, no, you cannot do secondary stacks using legacy. Making a rule is not a good idea. Like if you could make a rule stack RB with its defense, I think that's a horrible rule to make. You can make a rule stack WR with opposing WR, but that's going to count the wide receiver in your actual QB stack. Essentially, I don't do it. If you want the secondary stack in there, you got to use the other stacking method, the correlation stacking method. It's just harder to set up, and so we're sticking with this. I want to do this tutorial. Maybe next week we'll do stuff on the correlation, but we've got to get the basics down of legacy stacking. Our system is the best system for it. Other ones just allow you to do QB. They don't allow you to name the players. So ours is the best for this. We've got to be good at it. All right, let's see what happened. All right. As you can see, we got our exposures just about what we asked for. Okay, now let's start to take a look at the players that we wound up with. So a little bit of Dalvin, a little bit of Mike Davis, Darrell Henderson, Nick Chubb, all blah, blah, blah. Fine. Loaded up on CeeDee Lamb, got a ton of Mike Williams. Hard not to. Mark Williams is such a value. Got plenty of Cooper, not a lot of Keenan. Interesting. Less Cup than I would have expected. Okay. Little Diggs, little Metcalf, little AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson. We haven't even gotten into setting up guys that we like here. I wonder if all right, so check this out. I just want to see. Cedric Wilson. He is with his quarterback. So our little secondary rule did work. Look at that. It fucking worked. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at who's the other guy that we did a rule for. All right. Now we did a rule for Jalen Guyton. Let's see if it worked. Yep. That's really interesting. There it goes. So if you ever want to make sure that a player is only with his quarterback, now you just figured out how to do it. Okay. Yes, I will do a max. All right. So now let's get to ownerships. I'm going to sort by total projected ownership. The reason I'm doing this is I just want to see the range. So in just running it without any obstacles, the range we got is 121% to 165%. So I don't want to be super chalk with these lineups. We already have a lot of chalkiness with our extreme stack. So what I'm going to do is let's set the total projected ownership cap at 150%. We'll cut off some of those lineups that were popping up there. Okay? That's one thing. The other thing is I want to make sure I'm not 100% running back in the flex. So I'm going to set that to 70%. That's 2. And the next part is now we're going to actually go through our player pool and start to actually, make it happen, make it so that we get exposure to players that we like a little bit more. So, if you looked at my sheet this week, there's a few players that I really kind of want to target this week. Justin Jefferson is on the list. I'm just going to slap a little likeage on him here. AJ Brown is somebody I like a little bit, so I'm going to slap a like on him as well. Cooper Kupp, I definitely like him, and he's very underpriced, but we're going to make sure we get some of that exposure here. Mike Williams, I've already gotten a door on him. I don't know what more I can do. Actually, I might have to unadore because I'm getting too much of him. Yeah, I like Waddle a little bit, Jamar Chase. So all these players that I like, I'm kind of going through and slapping a little like on them just to make sure that they're being favored to the level that I would like to see. Marquez Callaway, I mean, I think he's like probably not a good play here on FanDuel, but I don't even think I'll get him if I smash a like on him, but worthwhile to give it a try. Let's see, who else do we have? Kind of like DK Metcalf a little bit. Okay. Tight end position. What did we get at tight end? A lot of Waller. I get it. But I want to use some tight ends for my correlations rather than just loading up on Waller. So let's go 45% max on Waller. And we'll be over the field enough that if he does well, we'll do well too. But I'd rather use that spot for this. Waller's great, but he's not Kelsey. So I'm gonna use that spot a little bit more for some other players that are correlative plays rather than just forcing Waller into every single lineup. So as you see, we're starting to build our player pool. A lot of times you guys ask me like how many players in your player pool. The reality is, it's just like whatever shows up. Like I'll uncheck some guys, I won't. Yeah, I might even go lower than that, Wes, but like Waller's clearly the best. I mean, actually, if you look at my sheet, I do like George Kittle a little bit this week as an interesting pivot off of Waller. So yeah, I'll make a little more adjusting here. I want to make sure I get, yeah, he's a little too high projected is the issue as well. I want to get a little bit of George Kittle going. I think George Kittle is an interesting leverage play at yeah, I'm surprised he's going to be 15% owned. So actually, that doesn't feel as leveraged as I would like it to be, but we'll see. Higbee was my big favorite, kind of DraftKings play. I want to get some Jared Cook involved because, he's got the correlation going on and he's going to be part of this game that we're excited for. So I'm just going to make sure I get a nice little mix of different players here. Yeah. No, if you notice though, all right, so let's take a look here. Oh, interesting. Okay. Let's see what's going on at running back. Yeah. See, this is the other thing. Like, I'm not 81% confident in Najee Harris. No, I don't have that level of confidence in him. So we're not going to go. We're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. We need much. If we're going to load up on certain games, we've got to be a lot more disciplined about our running back exposures. I do like Chris Carson, but I mean, again, what are we crazy? So I'm unchecking Mike Davis. Fuck that guy. I don't like that matchup. Zeke Elliott, I'm going to need more of that guy. I'm going to definitely need more of him. Yeah, I'm not sold on Najee either. I mean, he's getting all the touches, so that's great. But like, they still have a bad offensive line, and they didn't throw to him very much. Is it asinine to Hunt and Chubb? No. I have no problem combining those two. They have absolutely paired up to be part of a nuts lineup. No one's going to do it. Going for $1 million here. That's the kind of shit that wins you the million. Do that. Definitely do that. So we still have to control our defense position, and we want to control for exposures a little bit more. But I'm being very careful with my exposure control because, like I said, we've got stacks set up that are loading up almost 50-60% of these games, loading up on the one Chargers game. So if I start to set very low limits on players from the Chargers and the Cowboys, we're going to run into a situation that we don't want, right? I don't even understand how Amari Cooper's this low. I really don't even get it. But, we're going to have to keep massaging through these numbers, trying to figure out what's going on. Okay, so Waller, George Kittle. So it is not going cheap at tight end, that's for sure. We're grabbing only expensive ones. Let's deal with the defense situation here as well. Thank goodness we don't have to worry about kickers. So team defense, I don't really want to have more than 20% of any team. I'm not interested in the Falcons. I don't want the Texans. I don't really want the Titans either. Jaguars, I'll leave. Yeah, I mean, Keenan Allen's great. Keenan Allen is much more exciting for me on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel. He hasn't been a touchdown scorer, and we need touchdowns on FanDuel. So be a little bit careful with that, is all I would say. Like, if we're talking DraftKings, I'm pretty comfortable being as heavy as you could possibly be on Keenan Allen. Like 100% is fine by me. But, be a little more careful if you're talking about FanDuel here. So, all right, let's go through it here. Again, this is probably still too much of this guy as well. Yeah. There we go. No worries, man. Yeah, so 100%. This is FanDuel, so just be careful. That's why you couldn't afford Waller and Kittle, by the way. It's because, you're not paying up there. It's really hard to pay up there on DraftKings. On FanDuel, there's a lot of salary around. I also really want to control for the running back position a little bit better than what we've got going on. The way I'm going to control Eckler is actually lowering his projection rather than setting a max limit. Again, more so because he's part of all of these stacks, so I don't want to artificially limit him in that way. I'm increasing my Zeke Elliott exposure a little bit here as well because, don't you just know that in the week when everybody's loading up on Dak and Lamb and Kupp and Dak, Lamb, and Cooper, that Zeke is going to steal all the touchdowns. That is just how DFS works. Get a little more Chubb going. I like Mixon this week. Drake I'm not into. I don't mind Damian Harris. I'm just loading up a little bit more on some of these guys that I happen to just like a little bit this week, and let's see how that goes. But I'm going to try to get a little bit less Eckler in this next run. We're getting a lot of CeeDee Lamb relative to Cooper, which is bizarre. I don't understand who's in the. Let's take a look here. Let's see what's going on. Who's in my Dak? It's Dak, Cooper, Lamb, Williams. Okay. With Eckler and Williams. Okay. There's Cooper, Lamb, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. All right, cool. All right. I don't know. We're gonna keep adjusting it, but check out this screen, man. This is really cool because the way this works, if you're sticking with 150 lineups, this tells you how many lineups are this particular stack. So let's say you want most of your Kyler Murray to be Murray, Hopkins, Jefferson. Well, it is. And here's Murray, Hopkins, more. Okay, you got two like that. You can control for it. This is the exact number of lineups. If you keep running it, this number will change each time. But if you manually change the number, then it's just going to stay at that number. So just something to keep in mind. I want to mix them up. I want to make sure I'm getting a nice mix. And again, my feeling this week is because we're going to load up on these chalky games, especially the Dallas game, we're going to have to get unique elsewhere. We're going to have players that maybe not everybody's on. We're going to have to do things that aren't fully expected. So I'm going to try to set this thing up, and we don't have to go all in or very heavy on players outside of those games. You want to actually make sure it's mixing them, right? So it's mixing and doing a lot of switching. So again, Baker Mayfield, that's interesting. Did I not fill out the total amount? I guess we're getting some rounding issues here. All right, so now, okay, here we go. So we're getting a little bit less Eckler as I've lowered his projection. We're starting to get some other names here in the mix, which is good, right? Getting a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little more Chubb, Christian McCaffrey. I don't want him. Yeah, I think Herbert might be the better play just because Dallas is so bad defensively. But, playing both. I kind of was going to go 30% Herbert, and I probably still will. Now, I'll probably still adjust this up to 30% in fairness. It's hard for me to go more than 30% on a quarterback. That's going to get me about 45 lineups built around that game. So what's more important to me at that point, like if we take a look at all the Herbert lineups, just making sure I got a nice little mix of like, all right, this is the chalkiest, like the highest fantasy points one, right? What are we sorting by? No, total. That's why it's so chalky. All right, let's sort by fantasy points, right? So the highest projected Herbert lineup has Mike Williams in it, Jared Cook, Cooper Kupp, and Cook. No Allen. So I want to make an adjustment to that. Mike Williams is such a value that I think what's happening is he's just dominating the Herbert lineups. Let's take a look here. Williams. Yeah, I mean, he has a great value here. We got to deal with that a little bit, though, unfortunately. I think the value, as great as it is, and it is great. I mean, 5,600 is basically free, but he is facing pretty good coverage. So I'm actually going to lower that just a tad more and see if we can't get, again, a little bit better mix. Or I'm going to raise up my Keenan Allen exposure a little bit just by forcing more Keenan. But this is it. We're just making little adjustments at this point to the player pool. Notice what I'm doing, guys, and this is also very important for when you're running this tool. I don't make a lot of adjustments in between runs. I know it takes longer this way, and hey, listen, it forces me to fill a little bit of wait time with little talky talks, but it's really important not to make a million adjustments because when you adjust one thing, other things change. And so as I'm trying to kind of look at my overall exposure situation, if I lower one running back, some other ones will start to pop up. If I lower one wide receiver, see, I lowered Mike Williams a little bit. Now I've got like almost 100% CeeDee Lamb, Cooper Kupp. So, I still am going to make little adjustments here. I just want to make sure that, that I'm getting exposure to the players I really want on the slate. And it starts with, of course, the guys who I'm building my lineups around. That's the Cooper Kupps, the Amari Coopers, the CeeDee Lambs, Mike Williams, and Keenan Allens of the world. And I want to make sure that my ideas going into the slate about how I want to build my lineups and how I want to be overexposed in certain spots, that those things actually come to fruition when I'm running the optimizer. So sometimes we get caught up in setting up all these different stacks, but I know going in like, oh my God, I'm so high on this guy, and then I don't have that much of him at the end. I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? So so here we go. Some sleepers. Cook. We have a lot of Cook already. We like him. Talked about him a lot. Nelson Aguilar. CeeDee Lamb is not a sleeper. It will be the most popular player, but Nelson Aguilar is interesting. Why not? Against the Jets. The Jets secondary is horrible. I could see Aguilar just doing some shit, man. I'm with it, man. You know what? I'm buying it. I'm buying it. Down with it. All right. Anyway, let's see what we're getting here. Okay, now we're a little bit more leveled out here. I don't know if I want 30% of some of these guys. Kind of want to go maybe close to like 25, a little closer to the market, let's say, with some of this. I want a better overall mix of exposures at the RB position this week. I'm not sure who's going to be really good, so I just want a little bit of a lot of them rather than again, I think I want to let my stacks sort of speak for themselves in terms of the wide receivers, and then just mix up my running back exposure just in a way that, you know, in a way that kind of works. Yeah, I don't mind a little Kareem Hunt here as well. Let's see what his salary is on DraftKings, Fanduel. Yeah, I mean, I like Hunt at this price, so good call there. Greatest ever. Yeah, good call. I like that. I wouldn't normally play Hunt, but he's very cheap, and the game flow really does favor a good game from him. So why not? Why not? Yeah. It's much easier to do this, by the way. Like if you want to really get crazy with it, you could do one quarterback or one game at a time. So rather than running the full 150, there's absolutely nothing wrong with just running the full game one at a time. Landry, I heard Landry's name on some of these shows or whatever. I am not into Landry. 6,800. That's way too much, Wes. And I don't. Why would they throw? Like Cleveland doesn't throw when they're not forced to. That's not something. Uh, that's not something I'm excited for at all. I'm not going to put him in my lineups. If he goes off, he goes off. That's fine. But that's not my style of play. I think Cleveland's going to run it down their throat, and they won't bother throwing. And they didn't do well. Like I'm unchecking. I unfriend you, Baker Mayfield. I unfriend you. I like competitive games, guys. Competitive games. Look what it takes to get these guys to show up in lineups, though. Crazy. I mean, isn't it just a week for Derrick Henry to smash? I feel like you never know when it's coming, but when it does, if you're not on him, you're not making any money. Here we go. Now we're starting to get to the levels. Still, this is too much. Cooper Kupp. I love Cooper Kupp. I think he's one of the best values on the slate, but I love him. But I'm not sure I love him 50% of my lineups. So, or 60%. So I'm going to take that off. Where's CeeDee Lamb? Getting a lot of him too. So we're going to go 8. I just want to lower my exposure here. I like CeeDee Lamb, but I like Cooper more, first of all. So I'm going to lower his projection just a little bit. I don't like this 90%. See, what I just did, I made a couple of adjustments. Robert Woods' greatest ever is like that's the total tournament pivot play off the much higher owned, Cooper Kupp. So that's always good. We're trying to win $1 million here. I'll give you another interesting silly for the Millie play that I talked about on the Players Club. Was like, what if Shanahan was pulling Shanahanigans with the whole Eli Mitchell thing, and really Trey Sermon's going to come out and get all the touches this week, right? And at under 1% ownership, Trey Sermon just smashes the slate. No one's on him. Somebody does it. They make $1 million. Shanahanigans. I'm just letting you know, like, it's possible later on today I'll be like, fuck all these other ones, and I'll just load up even more on Prescott and Herbert, or that I adjust this shit, make 300. find 2 contests I want to enter 150 each. Yeah, so now we're getting a lot of Nick Chubb. There we go. A little Najee, we're getting a nice mix of these running backs. And I like this better. I want a diversified mix because I'm so chalky in some of these other spots that I just want to make sure I don't like this much chase. We're going to deal with that. Going to deal with that. I like Chase, but I don't like him. I mean, I like him a little, not that much. So, yeah, I like Brown, though. I definitely like Brown. I like him a lot. I want to make sure I've got my Josh Allen stacks going with Diggs. By the way, if you don't know what I'm doing, there's a little microscope here in the exposures box. When you click it, what happens is all the lineups with that player show up on the right-hand side of the screen. Yeah, it's super dangerous. I mean, Eli Mitchell is the one that people will be on. But what if it's Trey Sermon? I think it's between those two guys. I think Shanahanigans was in full effect. Maybe Sermon is the starter. Maybe he's the guy that gets all the carries. I don't know. No one knows. The coach will not tell you the truth. He's a fucking liar. He fucking lies. He lies. So we're making lineups, guys. I don't hate it. By the way, I spent a lot of time making these lineups, but like there is an approach to this where you just say, fuck it, let it do what it wants, set some max limits, no worries. I'm going to lower some of these numbers a little bit more. I just want to make sure this is too much CeeDee Lamb for me. I love CeeDee Lamb, but like I said, I like Cooper more. For Amari Cooper. Mike Williams, I'd be all in on if it wasn't for the fact that the Cowboys do have a pretty good corner in Trey Diggs or whatever, and he'll be on Mike Williams. So, you know, I don't know. I'm going to lower this to like 3%. That's a little bit crazy. Even 5% is a bit much for me. I don't love these guys. And, you know, now you're talking like 5 or 6 lineups. It's not that many, but it's enough. Devonta Smith is a guy I do like. So I've got a little bit of adjusting to do. I'll go through my sheet. Mike Evans is one of these guys I've talked about this week as like a prime low ownership bounce back candidate, but the ownership just don't look that low. I think I might not like him as much, seeing that the ownership isn't as low as I would like it to be. Yeah. Sometimes, Wes, it helps to like clear your headspace too. I got some other tricks to clear the headspace. Partake in that right now. All right. So I'm just gonna adjust my exposure. Like, yeah, Waller 40%, Kittle. That's a lot. I'd rather, like I said, I'd still rather have a little bit more of my tight ends like tied to my quarterbacks. Yeah. I'm not starting Leonard Fournette either, bruh. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't fucking trust Ron Jones Jr. I don't trust any of it at all. One of them might go off, but I don't like it. And they usually don't go off. I kind of think it'll be a mix. I think it won't be that good. But yeah, I mean, I definitely know some people who are starting Fournette, but my inclination is just stay away. I don't like it. The whole situation, give me the willies. Noah Fant. Am I not getting any Noah Fant? He's on my sheet. Yeah. I like Noah Fant too. It's hard to know on even Troutman is playable. Ferkser, why not? Gronk is still very reasonably priced here on Fanduel. The principle. Guys, this is it. This is the process. You know, if there are questions, but this is the process. Like, I'm going to continue going through it and refining my exposures. Again, I'm still, as I look through here, I definitely don't want this much, Metcalf, fuck that. And I kind of only want Metcalf really with his quarterback. So I'm going to do that. On the defense side, it's a good question. So let's take a look at the defense position here real quick. You're asking, like, what's a good cheap defense? Cheap defense is the right way to go in terms of the question. I'm much more excited about the cheapness of the defense on DraftKings than I am on FanDuel. Again, because FanDuel it's very affordable. Notice I unchecked these three. I think that even Jacksonville is like, it's a gross one. I'm not interested in it, but I guess if I'm forced, I think the first one that I really think is viable is the Jets. And mainly because they're going up against a rookie quarterback, 3,400. Fine by me. As you move up the list, I don't mind the Bengals against Andy Dalton. Dalton, not very good. Titans offense, very bad last week. So Seattle Seahawks, reasonable. Bills up against Tua. I'm fine with it. Eagles. Saints against Darnold, sure, 4,300. And, these guys, of course, the Patriots against the Jets is good. Steelers, good. I don't really like these guys, but Broncos, interesting a little bit. So a few defenses that I'm actually interested in playing. Let's take a look at what defenses are we actually getting here. Yeah, the Browns defense is probably the best play on the slate. I'm going to raise it up a little bit. Jets is okay. Let's set the 10. Broncos, yeah, against the Jaguars, fine by me. Here we go. It's not going to the most expensive ones, but for the most part, these are all. I don't know if I like the Raiders too much. Jaguars, it's tough to like them. I'm going to try 4 uniques and see if I get a better diversification. I've gone over all the players essentially in the Players Club, but if we want to just like quickly run through position groups here as we're going through it, at running back, I tend to like to save money, and there are some real salary savers available. Obviously, Eli Mitchell and Trey Sermon are real significant salary savers. So where's Mitchell? I think he's 5K. Yeah, no, there he is. Okay. So like an Eli Mitchell, you want to pay down. But at the running back position, Damian Harris really interests me right here. Najee Harris at 6,100. These guys are so cheap. It's hard not to be interested. A little Miles Sanders is okay. I'll give him a little thing on him. Yeah, and Carson is great. So it's this group down here. You're affording a lot. And of course, you have Austin Eckler just above them. He's really, really reasonably priced. Did not get receptions last week, but he got a lot of rushing plays. And, he's at home. I really like him. You go up a little bit further and you've got David Montgomery. I don't know if I want to spend this much. Zeke Elliott's kind of overpriced here. Joe Mixon's a little expensive. And then, of course, you get the stud zone with the quartet of super studs on the slate. So there it is. Like and subscribe, baby. Like and subscribe. Appreciate it. So I think this group here is the best group right here. Between Najee, Damian, Sanders, Henderson, Carson. Carson's got a locked-in workload. I do not mind him at 6,700 at all. And, of course, Austin Eckler. I lowered his projection below our mean standard projection because he was like overloading our Dallas game stacks. But, come to think of it, he should be overloading it. He's in a good spot. So I don't mind it. I'm raising him back up a little bit. So I'm going to make a few more runs, guys. If you guys have more questions before I shut this thing down, it's been an hour stream. So I think you've got the mechanics of how to set up the optimizer to make correlated lineups. If you need a lesson on correlation, I have done it and I've explained it. There is a math to this. And correlation is much more about the odds of players hitting in your lineup and or not being raised by the correlative factor. So if a quarterback is correlated with his wide receiver 50%, then having that quarterback and that wide receiver in the same lineup together reduce some like dud risk from that combination of players. So the more players that you put in the lineup that are correlated, the less dud risk you get. And then you've just got to mix up the rest of the guys, but you've also got to be really weary of who you're playing and, you know, and how they all fit together. So let me see what we're getting here. Oh, I got a little Miles Sanders. I'm fine with it. Every once in a while, Miles Sanders goes bananas too. Like, don't think he doesn't. He does every once in a while. I don't love Miles Sanders, but a couple shares just in case he goes off. Where's my boy CeeDee Lamb? There he is. I mean, we're looking pretty good here, guys. I'm going to continue to make my tweaks, do a little tweaking, twerking here, but I think that's it. What I'm going to do, if there's no more questions, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. Again, if you're watching the channel, please like and subscribe to it. It just helps people find these videos and find out about DFS Army and all the tools we have for our members, of course, and all of that stuff. So definitely try to do that for me. And I'm going to leave you with the Players Club theme song. You know it, to enjoy as we continue the night of making lineups. Remember to attack the contest that I showed you. We've got these beautiful, you could $7.50, no problem. You can max it. Quarter game, no problem. You can max it. Don't play above your means, please. Play contests that you can win. It feels fucking awesome to win the Hail Mary, guys. There's nothing wrong. Look, it's $2,000 for, this is a quarter game. Okay? It's $2,000 to first. That's fucking awesome. Like, you're in it for $37. You win, it's $2,000. That's a fucking great win. You don't have to spend $750. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars. You don't have to enter these, you know, the 22. You don't have to do that. And then, you know, again, philosophically, you know what I always say, make sure that most of your money when you play DFS is in a contest that, well, it looks kind of, let me find a good one. You know, put most of your money in contests that look like this, guys. 200 entrants. Okay? If you have a lot of money, 200 entrants, luxury box, right? 167 entrants. That's nice, the Gladiator. Call my fucking and Fanduel rep, get a ticket to that shit. 100K Crazy Eights contest, 123 entrants. These are the contests that you can win. You're going to handcraft your lineup for that. Be creative. Use the Domination Station, the optimizer to fuck around with these mass multi-entry contests. That's how we do it in the Players Club. I'm going to leave you with the fucking lineup building music. You know how we do it. So good luck, everybody, this week. I expect to see DFS Army helmets at the top of these tournaments. Later, everyone. Oh, shit. It's Chief ST, a.k.a. The Geek, and Kenyon McGee. DFS Army Players Club VIP. Motherfuckers. Let's do this. Yo, me and my homies, we're tighter than a glove. We chop a lot of game, how we do it at the Players Club. Check the pool or kick it in the tub, cause we kick much ass at the Players Club. It's time to kick it with the Army crew. VIP, you know how we do. Gonna smash the cop, make them look like bitches. In our pocket, we'll possess mad riches. Winning cash is our forte. When we smash a daily fantasy, gather that cream, gonna get a tune, living that dream, drinking Blue Moon. Yo, we make lineups differentiate between cash and GPP where we correlate. Ask me about the lineup, I'll say it looks great. All about that love, I ain't trying to hate. Yo, people ask what Bobby Wow would do. Fade the chalk, I unfriend you. More money for your bankroll. Stick to the script and make your pocket swole.
Since Geek's first week sneak peek lines, Y'all can see where we headed. If y'all have any other DFS coaches, y'all need to dead them. Yep, this season your boys are back on the block. Helmets, casket, the top. Yeah, same old shit. Yeah, chicks love the boys in the VIP. Saying, hey, Poppy, we so B.I.G. It's Players Club, exclusive, DFS Army.
Right, that's how we do it. Motherfuckers, we out.